Hello, everyone. Let me start the session for today. My name is Rugozeno Tuse. I am one of the regional manager with GSDC. I thank each and every one of you for joining the SRE Bootcamp with me here today. And we are at the right time. So without spending much of the time, let me just start the session with a quick introduction to GSDC. So the Global Skill Development Council, we are also known as GSDC, is an independent certification organization, and we are recognized by leading MNC organizations and multiple global universities. Our portfolio includes DevOps, Agile, L&D, and much more. And till today, we have certified over 90,000 professionals worldwide. And as an organization, we have also partnered with more than 50 plus global training organizations, and we call them as GSDC Authorized Training Organization, ATO. We have more than 50 advisors and SME from over. We stay up to date with the market demands and learning. And they are affiliates from prestigious universities such as Yale, MIT, Stanford, Wharton, and Harvard. And we are a proud member of ANSI, that's the American National Standard Institute, and ABICB, the Accreditation Board for International Certification Bodies. And as a company, we also work with leading MNCs such as PwC, DXC, Johnson's & Johnson's, and they believe GSDC in certifying their employees. And coming to the SRE roadmap of GSDC, we have a certification scheme of both SRE Foundation and SRE Practitioner program. And with that, you would also get SRE learning videos, expert talk series, mocks exam, and an exam voucher with 2 exam attempts and also global case studies. And once you clear the exam, you will receive GSDC certification and badge. So coming to the exclusive license that we have, that is the lifelong membership. And so here we have 6 benefits for all our members, and we do host lots of physical summits and workshops and boot camps. So you will be getting invitation for physical summits and workshops in case you would be interested, and it would be a free registration for you. And also you will receive invitations to become a part of our physical summits and workshop according to your experiences, and also you will receive award access to GSDC Learning Club, and you will also have the access to newsletters and downloadable implementation resources in the form of templates, which you can use it in your day-to-day life. And the most important benefit that we give here is we do give complimentary upgrade to your certification if there is any version in the market, which means you just need to appear the exam and clear the exam to, upgrade your certification. And also we will have a small game, and the winner will win a certification, a voucher worth $400. And we have Mr. Vikas Sharma here. He would be the speaker for today. He is an SRE consultant with more than 20 plus years of IT management and global consulting experience. And he is also a global speaker and author. So now, Vikas Sharma, you can have the screen for yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rugo. And I just want to check whether I'm audible. Can you hear me and am I visible?
Yes, you are visible.
Yeah. So I welcome all of you, team, and a very good evening to people who are in India, and greetings to everyone before I start. And I'm going to share my screen. I just want to check whether you can see my screen. Is my screen visible, team?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you. So, team, this is our agenda for today, and we are going to see what is SRE, information on what exactly SRE is, and there's a lot of confusion in the market where people get confused between SRE and DevOps. We are going to discuss what is that difference, and what is DevOps, what DevOps principles are, and as you would have understood SRE by then, we will also look at SRE principles, and after that, I want to throw some light on what are different SRE variants that are available in the market, and how people look at those variants, and what do we understand from those variants, and what are the SRE types, and how SRE types are implemented in different organizations so that you can correlate to these terms. And then I will also show you a kind of slide where we can see that SRE is applicable in almost all the industries. And which are those industries, which are those companies where they have implemented SRE. So I will cover that. And then we will look at the benefits of SRE. So in the end, when we reach the point where we talk about benefits of SRE, you would be able to answer those questions related to benefits of SRE by yourself. And after this session is over, we are going to have Q&A, question and answers. So I would be more than happy to take your questions at that time. And then, as Rugo said, that there will be a game. We are going to play a game, which will be more of questions and answers. And you stand a chance to win exam voucher, as Rugo said. So without wasting any time, let's start with what is SRE. So what is SRE? SRE stands for Site Reliability Engineering. It's a beautiful discipline which talks about how you create reliability in a production environment, reliability of the products, reliability of your services. And so what exactly that discipline is, who introduced it? I got some history for you. So when we talk about SRE launch or SRE introduction, it was done by Benjamin. He's the person who takes the entire credit of introducing SRE or launching SRE. And he was the head in Google for Google Service Reliability Engineering team when he introduced this concept of SRE way back in 2003. So SRE is not new because right now, when I look at the organizations, there's a huge demand for site reliability engineers or site reliability experts in the market. So many people think that it has picked up now, so it might have been introduced right now. No, the introduction or the traces of SRE or when it was introduced, it's exactly in the year 2003. So at that time, when Benjamin was trying to analyze the entire work patterns, entire value chain, how we are working, what are the problems in the production environment. Most of the time, things used to fail in the production environment. Customer was not getting what customer wanted. There was a lot of siloed culture. Teams were blaming each other. They were not completing their tasks on time, and we were too delayed to reach the market. So there were a lot of issues, and Benjamin tried analyzing those issues, and he said that something should be done to increase the reliability, or you can also call it as stability of our services or stability of our products in the production environment so that they don't fail. And so that was the time when he started thinking that how we can do that. So he thought that why can't we have a kind of discipline where we start doing things a bit differently? So how to manage those things? So when I say things a bit differently, so regular way of managing operations was you get the people who are very good with the infrastructure knowledge, and they are very good with the technologies, and they handle the issues. If there are any incidents, they are going to work on fixing them. But as there was a huge gap in the development environment, in the testing environment, I mean, these teams were not collaborating, and production team, operations team was completely different. So there was the time when he thought that how we can improve their stability without interacting with them. We need to create a bridge between the development and the operations to reduce those issues which are causing that instability or which are impacting the reliability. So he came up with these concepts, and he said that we will create a bridge between the development and operations. So SRE acts as a bridge between the development and operations. And SRE is going to apply the software engineering mindset to handle the system admin topics or to handle the infrastructure problems. Now, what do we mean by software engineering mindset? So that was the time when he thought a bit differently. He said that we can get people into the production environment who are going to support our services, who are kind of sharing their skill set with the development team. So what do we mean by that? So when we say sharing the skill set with the development team, it's mainly that they should be able to write the code. So when I say writing the code, are you saying that they are going to support the services by writing the code? No. So his concept was that when there is any issue or any incident that happens in the production environment, so at that time, these people should be able to analyze the situation. They should be able to write the automation scripts, automation codes, and should try to automate those opportunities where people fail, a kind of permanent fix, so that next time there won't be any failure. Well, is it that simple? As I say, no, it's not that simple, but that is about SRE. SRE is a discipline that applies the software engineering mindset to handle the infrastructure issues or infrastructure problems. And it was introduced in 2003. Credit goes to Benjamin. Now, team, what is this SRE? As I said, Site Reliability Engineering as a discipline is going to apply the software engineering mindset to solve the infrastructure problems or to handle the issues in the operations or in the production environment. So these are those teams that are made up of software engineers. When I say software engineers, these are not hardcore developers, but they should have an ability to write the automation scripts or automation code, which is going to automate a lot of manual tasks, which is going to automate the opportunities where people fail or people commit mistakes due to which there is a failure in the production environment. So they are going to build and implement the software. Now, when I say build and implement the software, they are not writing or creating a software in the production environment. They are going to do the automation. They are going to write the automation scripts. And that is what is going to improve your reliability of their systems and services. So I'm going to share some use cases also, and we will be able to see that how SRE works and what SRE is. So this was more on SRE teams. Now, as I said earlier, there's a lot of confusion between the SRE and DevOps. Many people are still not able to differentiate. In fact, if you look for the job description for DevOps and SRE, it would look similar. People won't be able to differentiate because their job description is almost same. So what is that difference between the DevOps and SRE? For that, I'll throw some light on DevOps, what DevOps is. Now, many of you have read DevOps as culture of collaboration. So I've got this for you, just off the league, where it says, destroy every version on production servers. Well, in order to understand what is DevOps, it is important for us to understand how things used to work before DevOps. So just a history about DevOps. DevOps was introduced in 2009 in one of the conferences in Belgium. So team, before we jump onto DevOps, I'm highlighting certain problem areas that we used to face even before DevOps. So old way of working where your developers are going to write the code. There was a lengthy cycle time for writing the code because the tools that were used to commit the code were very old, very legacy tools where they were not allowing multiple developers to commit the code at the same time. Unlike we have big tool set nowadays that is available. We have Bitbucket, we have GitHub. These are amazing tools. So at that time, we used to have legacy tools and our developers could not commit at the same time. And that used to increase the time they used to take to write the code, to commit the code to the source. And then it used to go for the build. Now, let's say build is done. Now your testing team comes in. Now, when I talk about the test, you have a completely different team for testing, which is going to help you in testing the entire application, entire code that is being written. So they used to have their own mindset because they were not involved in capturing the requirements. So their understanding is different. Now, when that handoff happens from developers to testing, so it is kind of what development team has explained. And after listening to that, what testing team has perceived. So these two things were completely different. It was a completely different perception. And due to that, now testing team used to have their own standard models. They are going to do the testing. They had their lengthy cycle time for doing the test. And if there are any defects, then we are going to involve the developers again to fix those particular defects. And now, let's say those test defects have been fixed. Now it goes to release and deployment team. Release and deployment team is going to take the handoff again and is going to do the testing, and then is going to do the deployment and again post validation, and then is going to release. Once it is released to the operations team is going to support this. Now, this is complete waterfall method that we used to follow. The problem with this method was that it was very lengthy, long time. Our release cycle was 3 months to 4 months. And prior to that, it used to take around 6 months also. So it was a very lengthy release cycle. And the other problem with this was that as teams were different, they were using different tools. So during the handoff, there was a lot of confusion. And that confusion used to end up in wrong understanding in the production environment. Most of the time, I have also seen when we used to make a release or when we are making any changes to the application. So at that time, service desk team was not even informed. So if there are any issues after that, those issues will be directly escalated to level 2 team. Now, level 2 team, as a part of handoff, what they have got certain documents. They're going to go through those documents. By the time they come up with the fix, SLA is already breached. And then came the time when we used to assign the tickets to the development team. Now, again, the problem was their tool set was different. Production environment, we were using Remedy. In development environment, we had Jira. And now you don't have those connectors. In those days, it was very difficult. We lacked those connectors or those plugins to connect Jira and Remedy. So we could not assign the tickets. Now, in that case, we used to manually create the tickets in the development environment. Now you have SLAs in the production environment, but no SLAs in the development environment. So then operations team is going to put that ticket on hold, and ticket SLA stops in Remedy, but there is no SLA in Jira for the development team. Now development team will take their own sweet time to fix those issues or to work on those issues, and then they will be tested and they will be then fixed. In fact, most of you, if you come from that particular era, or in those days, you might have seen, or even now you might have seen, that ticket start time and end time has a difference of 4 days. So that means it took 4 days to fix that issue, to resolve that ticket. However, when you look at the SLA, it says ticket was resolved within 4 hours. So this used to happen because of those silos, because of those lack of tool integrations and the way we used to work. And another problem with this was a lot of business outages in the production environment. Now, why those business outages? Because all the environments were different. Again, I would say we used to lack those tools to help us create consistent environments, like we have infrastructure as code concept nowadays. So we used to lack it in those days, and due to which our build environment is different, our testing environment is different, pre-production environment or staging environment is completely different, and production environment, which is highly updated because it is being sponsored and we are able to fix all the issues there. So this is that cycle that used to happen, or this was the overall way of working, the way we used to work. I can quote an example where for one of the customers, we had 20 plus business outages in the entire year. And if we look at every change that we used to push in the production environment, it used to fail. So a failure rate was very high. Our release cycle was 3 months to 4 months, and we were that slow. So all these things used to impact the business, and your business functions, they were highly frustrated because of this way of working. So these were some of the problem areas which you might be aware, but still I brought it to your to your view that we had so many problems with that. And main problem is that your business is waiting forever to get what they want. Your customer is not getting what they want on that particular time. So again, silos existed. Like I said, development team is not ready to take the ownership of what's wrong with their code, because see, I would not blame the development team. It was the way we used to work, because development team had their own issues. They immediately used to switch on to the another application. They are coding and they are fixing those defects. And all of a sudden, if you ask them to support the production environment, they would have their own issues. So their mindset was, okay, we have done the testing in the development environment. We have done the testing in the staging environment. Everything is fine. But it fails in the production environment. And now they say it's a production issue. It's operations problem now. It worked well in the development environment, but it's a production issue now. So no one is taking that ownership. Now, when we bring in DevOps, so in DevOps, this is your deployment pipeline. So DevOps will help you get this deployment pipeline completely automated and completely integrated with the tools. We are doing the automations to increase that speed, as well as we are removing the human perception of value. And plus, we are getting the teams to work together. Like DevOps is one way of being agile. So in that way, DevOps is going to help us work together. You have a team, you have a product owner. If I don't get into the microservices architecture, so I'll talk about, let's say you have a product owner, you have a scrum master, and you have a development team. In development team, you also include the testing team, or a complete single team working together. You have the testers, you have the developers, they are working together. Now, when we talk about the DevOps team, so in DevOps, we want to have someone from the operations side involved in the development. Now, are you saying that I'm going to ask them to switch the role? I'm going to ask the operations team to do the coding? No, I'm not doing that. So operations team will, or some SPOC who's technically sound, will participate in the release planning meetings, will participate in the sprint planning meetings, will also participate in the daily scrum meetings when those handovers have to happen in the production environment. This is the person who's going to ensure the production team is ready to take the handover. There are no gaps. These kind of practices have come from the DevOps. So this is more of a pipeline. I wanted to show it to you that how development team and operations team now, because of those practices, comes together and starts working together. So when we look at DevOps, huge focus is on automation. Why automation? Because we want to have a speed. We want to reduce the human error. We want to get to the consistency. We want to reduce the cost. So that is why we think on what can I automate, or can I automate everything? And these are those tool sets that we use to automate this entire pipeline. So like I said, I can just give you an example. Like, let's say if we are looking at our tool chain or our pipeline, your developers might be committing the code in the GitHub. From there, you have Jenkins being integrated with it. Jenkins could be your orchestration tool, which is integrated with GitHub, extracts the code, and then it goes for the automated build. Your build server can come from the tools like Maven. Then for testing, you have Selenium, which is a very good tool. And then it delivers the results. And then for deployment, you have Octopus Deploy, which is going to help you there. For configuration management, you have Chef, Ansible, Puppet, these tools that are available. For containerization, you have Docker. For containerization, you can also use Kubernetes. So these are very good tools. And then you have tools for the operations as well, where we talk about monitoring. So tools like AppDynamics, Dynatrace, Prometheus, these are the tools that are helping you to automate this entire pipeline. And what is the benefit of this automation? The benefit would be where you used to take months to reach the production environment earlier. Now you can release every 10 days. In fact, I've seen the organization where you're releasing every 2 days. I've seen the organization where you're releasing every day. Now, meantime between the deployments, if you look at that, or the release, or let's say, like Amazon says, if our developer has committed a code, it would take around 6 seconds to push that code in the production. So you have these pioneers who are available in the market, and they have that kind of speed which they have achieved because of DevOps. Now, what is another benefit of DevOps? One is that you will have speed. But with speed, now the question is, do we have things reliable? Yes. So how we are ensuring that reliability? Like I told you, there were 20 plus business outages, 30 plus business outages. These were the scenarios that we have got from different customers. So after you do the automation, all these outages can be reduced. And this is where that automation helps you to do the testing together. All the teams are involved. They are ready to fix it. And once it gets pushed in the production environment, you have better tools to monitor them. And they can help you detect the failures in advance. They can help you fix them in advance. So that's more of an automated pipeline that's helping us with the speed, with the reliability. Now you don't have human errors. You have consistent environments. With the help of consistent environments, or maybe you are using tools like Terraform, or you're using tools like AWS CloudFormation to create those consistent environments. So if you have those consistent environments, you're able to detect the failures in the early life cycle. You don't have to wait till the end. So this is helping us to reduce those failures, plus it gives us the speed. Well, these are the practices that are implemented in DevOps. So DevOps is more of a culture of collaboration that can be created between the development and the operations by using automation, or by automating the software delivery and infrastructure changes. That's how you can define DevOps, a culture of collaboration. Now, when we say culture is defined by the ways of working, by the practices that you use, by the values that you are going to use, by the principles. So all of these things are going to help us define that culture of collaboration. That is DevOps. Now, what is SRE? That I'm going to tell you in some time. But now this was more on DevOps. So in DevOps, you might have heard about CI/CD pipeline, continuous integration and continuous delivery, or continuous deployment. Well, just to give you a glimpse of what exactly this is. So we say developers commit the code and it goes to the source. Now there you can use those tools like GitHub, Bitbucket, and there again, continuous integration server comes from the tools like Jenkins, where you can program it, or you can integrate it in a way that Jenkins will extract that code and will integrate them, and then it will go for the build, test, and you will get the results immediately. Earlier, I still remember I was a project manager. I had the development team. Now I know my development team is going to go for the testing after a month. I used to raise a request for test resources 1 month in advance. And let's say my development team has finished the development and build is done. And now we are waiting for the test to happen. And those test resources are not available. You would not get them on time. But now with this kind of way of working, and you can use the practices like test-driven development, where developers can write the unit test cases and then they start writing the codes. So that will give you the results immediately. You will get the results much faster. Defects, you will be able to detect those defects faster. An agile way of working, where it's one single team that works together, you would be able to fix those defects immediately. And then you can go for the deployment in the production. Now comes the concept of continuous delivery or continuous deployment. Now, just want to throw some light on this. When we talk about continuous delivery is possible for all the organizations. So there it says that before you push anything into the production, you have to test, you have to take a feedback. You are going to make a decision whether it goes in the production or not. So there are practices like canary deployments. There are practices where we are doing the deployments in the staging and taking a feedback, and then we are making a decision whether it goes to the production or not. Whereas when we talk about continuous deployment, in continuous deployment, whatever gets tested or whatever passes the test, it gets moved into the production automatically. That's more of continuous deployment. So the CI/CD would talk about continuous integration, continuous delivery, or continuous deployment. These are the practices under DevOps, which are going to give us that speed and which are going to build that culture of collaboration. So we are going to look at some of the DevOps principles here because we are talking about ways of working. And then we'll compare it with SRE. Now, when we talk about DevOps principles, I've got 5 principles for you. First is no more silos. No more organizational silos. How are we doing that? So example that I gave you, we start creating one single team where you have the developers, testers, and you're going to involve the operational SPOC, who's going to participate in their meetings, who's going to participate in the handoffs, and who's going to help them in creating that clear picture or a kind of collaboration or kind of view to the operations team that what DevOps is, what development team is doing, and what are their expectations, and also help in capturing the non-function requirements so that operations team is working on the non-function requirements and all. So this is the way where you are moving operations in the development. But at the same time, when you make a release, we keep that same team there to support that application for a week. If there are any issues, any incidents for that particular application, your developers are already available. They're going to make the code changes and they are going to implement those changes to fix those issues permanently. This is one of the practice. It is implemented in some of the organizations. And there are different ways of implementing the same practice. But this is more of collaboration between the development and operations. So no more organizational silos. In fact, to create that collaborative environment, we use the concepts like ChatOps, where you can use Slack as a tool to create that collaboration platform where teams are collaborating. If there are any issues, they're sharing that information, they are creating that visibility, who's working on what, and they are able to work together. So no more organizational silos. If I talk about second principle, it says accidents are normal. So you might have heard about a concept of fail fast in DevOps. Fail fast, I would not say that you have to fail every time, but you have to learn fast. You have to learn from your failure. So we treat accidents as normal. That is another principle. So when you implement DevOps, you have to change the mindset. At the leadership level also, they have a completely changed mindset where they say, okay, it's okay to fail, but we should not repeat those failures. And if we talk about another principle, it says implement gradual changes. Now, when we talk about implementing a gradual change, you are minimizing the impact. You are optimizing that particular window, and you are going to reduce the impact to the business. And that's how it is going to help you. You're going to reduce the change failures with implementing gradual changes. Tooling and culture are interrelated. Well, you are going to try to, you're going to do the automations, complete automation, which will help you reduce the cost, get you the accuracy, get you the consistency, those things, and higher reliability. So this is where it will create that culture of collaboration. So tooling, leverage tooling and automation, that is important. And measurements are crucial. So we try to measure each and everything. Mainly, we measure the quality, reliability. We measure the, we are going to measure the culture of collaboration. We are going to measure the speed. These things are going to be crucial measurements in DevOps. So these are the principles of DevOps. In the end, before I jump on to comparing the SRE and DevOps, so team, DevOps is a culture of collaboration where we create a collaboration between the development and operations by automating the software delivery and infrastructure changes. So that's on DevOps. Now, just a quick recap on what is SRE. So by now, you know, SRE is more of a job role where we are going to appoint the people who are going to apply the mindset, software engineering mindset to fix the infrastructure problems. So they have the ability to write the code to automate most of the things that we do manually. So here it highlights that SRE is a team of people who can, who will get bored of the manual task. They don't want to do the task manually, and who should have the ability to write that automation script. Maybe you can use the languages like Python, you can have Java, any of these, write the automation scripts, and you can automate that work so that you don't have to repeat that work. And in fact, one of the principles you will see, they say automate whatever you can. So one of the goals for SRE would be automate current year's job at hand. So that's SRE mindset. Now, if we look at SRE principles, The first principle is that operations is a software problem. They say treat operations as a software problem. Now, there are two ways of looking at this statement. One, that people, how they read it normally, operations is a software problem, means any problem in the operations is caused because of the development. So SRE as a team would create that bridge where they can involve the right people at the right time, or they can provide the feedback from the development, from the operations to the development, to create that culture of collaboration and provide their feedback so that they don't commit same mistakes again. And this is one way of stopping those issues in the production environment. Apart from this, when we say operations is a software problem, they say treat operations problem as a software problem. Write the automation code to automate that opportunity so that you don't face that issue again. That is SRE mindset. Now, if I take you to the next one, we manage services to SLOs. Well, you might have heard about SLA and SLO. It's a completely vast topic. I would not get into the details, but just to give you an information, SLA, service level agreement, is a contractual agreement with the customer, whereas SLOs, service level objectives, are more of internal terms or internal targets, which you are not going to sign off with the customer. In most of the organizations, they don't. These SLOs are created for keeping your users happy. So they consider user perspective. And that's where SRE plays an important role. SRE will help you implement those SLOs, service level objectives. Well, SLOs are from user perspective. So you would not find SLOs on incident management, problem management, change management, but you would find those SLOs on areas like we talk about availability, we talk about latency. So I've got a slide for it. We have an acronym called VALID. So you can define SLOs on those areas where they are directly impacting the user. So always remember, if we talk about availability, you will also have SLO and SLA. Same goes with the latency, you can have it. So your SLO should be tighter than your SLA. So managed services by SLOs, that mindset comes from SREs. Now, if we talk about this acronym, VALID acronym, we are talking about 5 types of SLOs. They are there in the market. We talk about defining SLO target. SLO is a target. We define the target on the volume. That means how much load our systems can take. Availability, your uptime, which is very clear, like 99.9% availability. And then we talk about latency. That means how fast your service should be responding. You define that threshold, that target, that becomes your SLO. Error, how many errors, or you need to have the mechanism to detect those errors, and you can define the error rate threshold. That target becomes SLO. And then you have tickets. So tickets are mainly where we compare the manual and the automated tickets. So are those tickets being responded automatically? Are they being manually handled? So we are going to compare that part. So that's more of tickets. Now, team, when we talk about these SLOs, there is a concept of SLI, service level indicator. Usually it's a success rate or a failure rate. So you are going to define those thresholds, and you are going to define the formula, which is more of a ratio between 2 metrics. That's more of your SLIs. You have the tools in which you can update these formulas and these thresholds, and they can do the reporting. In fact, you have Site Reliability Ops application available in ServiceNow as well, which can do the reporting on your SLOs, SLIs. There are organizations who have used Tableau to do that reporting. Yep. So important part is monitoring and observability. That is also implemented by SLO, by the SRE. There's a difference between two. Monitoring, yes, we monitor 4 golden signals: latency, traffic, utilization, errors. We monitor these areas. But observability, now if we talk about observability, observability goes one step ahead of the monitoring. Monitoring will tell us what has happened, when it has happened. But observability will tell you that why it has happened. So you have observability being configured in many tools. You can use those tools. They can help you with finding out what is the defect. Like simple example, if there is a spike in the CPU utilization of a server, you will come to know that when it happened through monitoring tools, telemetry tools. But with the white box monitoring, you are able to understand that which query was running on that particular, or which application was running, and which query was running for that particular application, which was utilizing all the resources. So you are able to do the root cause analysis immediately. That's observability, and observability will help you find out the fix immediately, fix those issues, and get to the higher reliability. That's why observability is important for SRE. And this slide is again talking about the difference between monitoring and observability. So your pipeline has failed, that you come to know from monitoring, but you have a pipeline outage because of a Spark job failed due to an invalid row. That comes from observability. One of the principles, like we discussed, that we will have, operations is a software problem, managed services to SLOs, and we will work to minimize the toil. Now, what is toil? Most of the people think, oh, it is unimportant work. Well, when I talk about toil, remember, toil can be important work or can be unimportant work as well. But anything that you are doing manually, anything that is automatable, anything that is repetitive in nature. When I say repetitive, if you're just doing it once or twice, it's not toil. But if you keep repeating it again and again, it is repetitive in nature. So it will be considered as toil. Anything that is tactical, where you have to be on call to provide on-call support. No enduring value, where input and output is same. So you are just extracting data from one tool, you're pushing it in the another tool, no enduring value. Or you are scaling linearly or manually scaling. So these activities, or any activity that has this attribute, will be treated as toil. So you have to identify the toil, you will reduce the toil. If you reduce the toil, it will give you speed. And SRE is going to create a balance between the speed and reliability. So work to minimize the toil, automate what you can. So you will try to do the automation. As I told you, for SRE, they have a target. They say that we are going to automate current year's job at hand. Whatever is being done manually, we are going to automate that. That is the target that SREs are driving. So imagine your entire pipeline will be automated. Like Standard Chartered Bank, they have implemented the complete zero-touch deployment pipeline. So there's no touch, completely automated pipeline. It's not only with Standard Chartered, it's been implemented in many organizations. Then it says, move fast by reducing the cost of failure. Now, this is where it relates to the principle of DevOps, where we say implement the gradual changes. So SREs are going to ensure that our impact is reduced. We are reducing the change failures. Due to that, we are moving fast. Is failure bad? Because SRE is going to change that mindset. Is failure bad? No, we don't treat failure as bad. That's where we learn from the failures. So whenever there is a failure, SREs are going to drive the blameless postmortems, are going to ensure that there is a proper learning being captured, and we never repeat those failures again. So there's no such thing that is called as failure. Tony says that they are only results. SREs share the ownership with developers. So when I say they share the ownership with developers, they are going to have that skill set of writing the code, automation code. They should be able to automate those activities that we are doing manually and use the same tool regardless of functions. So that's where SRE will help in integrating multiple tools, create those highly reliable, ultra scalable distributed systems by integrating their tools. These are those different principles from SRE. Now, if we look at SRE and DevOps, see, DevOps is a culture of collaboration between development and operations. But to create that culture, these practices have to be implemented. So you are getting SRE as a job role, which is going to help us implement these practices. In fact, go one step ahead, improve them, automate whatever you can, automate the entire pipeline so that there are no human errors. You get speed. There is balance between the speed and reliability. That is what is the difference between SRE and DevOps. So I'm just going to highlight some understanding from the SRE perspective. So there was this day, 15 December 2020, and all of you would know that Google went down. Google and YouTube, most of these services were not working. Google Meet sessions were disconnected. So was this outage impactful? Yes, there was a huge impact, global impact. And it might not have gone well with the paid users. So how important this outage is? If you apply the SRE mindset, SRE says that every outage is important for us because we learn from those outages. And we are going to find out why that outage occurred, what we can do, and how we can improve. So they also came up with that mindset. They said, do not panic. We are not going to panic, and we are going to define those takeaways. So they said the bigger takeaway is more and more thorough testing that we need to do. We need to test the dependencies. We need to test all our failovers, everything. Yeah. So that is what they understood from this Google. So a kind of SRE mindset, ever learning mindset, so that we don't repeat those failures again and driving blameless postmortems. Now, team, if I talk about SRE variants in the market, so these are different variants, like you have different names being used for different disciplines of SRE, like you have Heritage Reliability Engineer. This is the concept, or this is the term that is being used for the people or for the teams who are managing the legacy systems, who are applying the principles and practices of SRE to those legacy systems and environments. So there they are referred to as Heritage Reliability Engineer. Whereas when we talk about Customer Reliability Engineer, now these are the people who are implementing these SRE principles and practices in the customer organization. They're educating customer on those SRE practices. So we refer to them as Customer Reliability Engineers. And then you have DBRE, Database Reliability Engineer, where they are applying those practices and principles and terms like chaos engineering into the development, into the database environments. They are making those database systems more reliable. And same goes with the Network Reliability Engineer, where they are taking care of networks, applying chaos engineering practices to networks. So these are different variants. Now, most of the time, I get a question that what kind of teams that SRE has, or what kind of roles SRE usually play. See, just to highlight that these could be different slicing and dicing of the SREs that can exist in the market. So there could be SRE team acting as a consultant, or SRE as a role acting as a consultant, where they purely provide the advice. There's no on-call support. They don't provide any on-call support. If we look at embedded role of SRE, now here, you don't have a separate team of SRE. Here, you are making the existing teams or people from the existing teams perform those SRE activities. So they are co-working on the SRE activities. Then you have a platform team. Now, these are those teams, those SRE teams, which are going to manage the platforms. They are going to take care of the platforms, automate them, integrate them, implement those tools. Then you can have slicing and dicing in the organization. It's up to the organization. For applications, you can have a separate SRE team. For infra, you can have a separate SRE team. Or for each technology, you can have a separate SRE team. So it could exist in slicing and dicing there. Or full SRE. So when I talk about full SRE, it could be full SRE as a function. So when I say full SRE as a function, there would be your manager, site reliability engineering manager. That's across the organization. Under manager, you can have team leaders, and you can have the engineers for SRE. So this would be SRE as a separate function. Well, this is more of SRE as a separate team. Well, it depends on the organization, how they want to implement. And that's where I've got this information for you on the SRE types. Now, just to tell you, Google comes up with the 50% rule, where Google says that each SRE should spend 50% of their time on the toil reduction, and remaining 50% would go to being on call, because on-call support, that's where SREs are needed. Plus, SREs are going to provide the guidance to the team, conduct the trainings for the team. They are going to do the capacity planning. They are going to do the trend analysis, or they are going to understand the pain areas in the operations. So that's where you have SRE role being defined. So that was just a gist on what SRE is. And this is from Gartner, different dimensions of SRE role. So SRE contributes to automation, automate everything that you can. Defining SLOs, service level objectives. Well, there's a beautiful concept of error budget. Error budget, as of now, just understand error budget is affordable failure limit against a target. That target is SLO. So if your SLO on availability is 99.9%, your affordable failure limit, which is error budget, it would be 0.1%, 100% minus that availability target, SLO target. That is your error budget, how much error you can afford. against that target. And if you convert it into minutes, it will be 43 minutes roughly. And how are you going to measure that? So you will have your total uptime divided by total service time. That's your SLI, service level indicator. And then SREs would help in doing the performance engineering by load balancers and all those concepts, system engineering concepts. So that will help in improving the performance engineering, helps in the improvement of the change management, reducing the change failures, helps in the incident management, monitoring and observability, one that we discussed, and DevOps focus. So team, this was about the SRE, and in the end, I'm talking about some of the benefits to the organizations from SRE, site reliability. So important benefit is reliability of products and services. So that's improved, faster time to market, speed and reliability, enhanced scalability, improved cost efficiency, and better risk management. These are some of the benefits of SRE. Who's doing SRE? So team, you can find organizations. I mean, you have the Netflix, you have Amazon, you have Airbnb, you have so many organizations. So they are across different domains. You can have universities where they have implemented that. You can have retailers, you can have manufacturing, you can have different web pioneers who are doing SRE or who have implemented SRE. So it has a huge scope in the market. Well, there are a lot of job openings in the market, and in the recent past, if I look at it, there's a huge demand that has come in for SRE role, because organizations are understanding the importance of SRE and how it is going to transform their organization. So it is important that we should look for these kind of opportunities, and we should be able to contribute to these areas after gaining that knowledge. So team, that was from my side. Wanted to share more and more knowledge on it. In the end, I open it for Q&A before we go and play a game. Any questions? Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I'm a part of SRE.
Yeah.
So, like all the things you have cleared, that like means very well appreciated. But I have one question. In future, like means in coming days, is there any tool which will be helping us to work upon and like means reducing the errors, efforts?
There are many. See, first of all, if I have to answer this question, what are those errors? Errors could be of different types, right? To reduce the errors, automation is helping. As less human intervention would be there. As you are going to reduce it by doing the automations, you will have very less errors. Yeah. But still, if there are errors, you can try to automate those areas. You can write the automation scripts. That is one way. Another way, like we used to have the errors. I gave you example that we had different environments. We were not able to match those environments, or we were not able to catch the defects till the time we hit the production. So if you have those kind of issues, then scalability would help. So that's where SRE helps in scaling the organizations to the next level. So there are a lot of tools that are already available. There's a lot of work that is going on. Every now and then there is a new tool that comes in the market. So it depends what kind of errors you are looking at, and you can reduce those errors. Now I tell you the human behavior, how we used to reduce the errors. Like if you start following the test-driven development, you can fix a lot of errors initially. If you talk about continuous integration, you are able to detect those defects. See, it's important that are we able to detect the defects first, and then we can think on how to reduce it. So there are a lot of tools that are already available. Are those tools sufficient? That is the question. Well, maybe yes, maybe not. I'm not the right person to answer that. But yeah, there are a lot of new tools that are coming in. Yeah. Did I answer your question?
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. I see. Yeah.
Hi, Vikas. Wasim here. I hope you're doing fine.
Yeah. And how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for asking, Vikas. It's good to meet after a long time.
Yeah.
That's one. And however, need to give you a quick thing. Thank you a lot for sharing it in a simple and concrete information what SRE is. I've joined an organization which is implementing SRE now, and me as an ITSM person, right, who is non-software engineer, who doesn't know anything about coding, who doesn't know how to manage the codes, when to plan automation, what type of scripts that needs to be done. I need to know as an individual from the service management perspective what I can bring to the table in SRE, one. And two is how, if a person is moving from IT service management to SRE, portfolio or a career change, how
Mhm.
exactly they can look for options and move ahead from there.
First of all, very good question. And I can look at this question in two ways. One, what is the skill set that is needed to be SRE? So if you talk about pure skill set, yes, automation, coding is, I mean, you should be able to write those codes, but is it mandated? No. Yeah. It is an advantage, because if you yourself is able to write those codes and you are able to do the automations, you would know what exactly you're working on and what you have to gain out of it. Yeah. Now, if we talk about from service management perspective, SRE is mainly operation role, production environment. More focus is on production. DevOps has a focus on the development side, whereas operation focus is with the SRE, as the name says, site reliability or in the production environment. So you are one of the best person who will be able to identify where things are going wrong in production. If you are able to identify those things, you can use or leverage the automation teams, because every organization has automation team, maybe a separate team where you might have to get their effort charged to your cost center, but yeah, you can utilize them. That is one of the ways of looking at it, if you don't have that skill set of doing the automations yourself. Yeah. Okay. If you have that skill set, it's better. But in case you don't have it, you should be good at implementing these practices. Means you should be good at implementing those principles that we saw: manage services to SLOs, operations is a software problem, then automate what you can. Means you should be able to identify those automation areas. You should be able to implement the gradual changes, that kind of discipline to minimize the impact. Yeah.
Okay. Now,
I mean, I tell you, there's a vast opportunity for you in the market. But as we are also moving towards microservices architecture, so bit of technical knowledge would help. Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Sharma, we are running out of time, so we have two questions in the chat box. One is by Mr. Joey. He said, I have over 5 years of experience in software development. Should I opt for SRE Foundation or practitioner certification from GSDC?
Okay, very good question.
Yeah. Okay.
So let me answer this question. See, you can go for SRE Foundation first, because Foundation is a prerequisite for practitioners. And so that's a growth path. And you can easily go for it. It's very simple. You will be easily able to understand. And GSDC, yes, GSDC is a really good organization and a global organization. So, and plus they are giving you good discounts. Yeah. Yes, Rugo.
Yes, so we will move to the gamification now, and
yes,
the winner will be announced once the session is over.
Okay. Now, team, Rugo, did you paste that that link? Maybe I'll just share it with
just
team.
Give me a quick minute. I will share the link.
Okay. So team, I want you to experience this game. You can try to go to this link. Oh, it went directly. I don't know whether it's going to everyone. No, it went to someone else. Yeah, Rugo has shared it. Yeah. Or Aditi from Novel Vista has shared it. Oh, sorry, from GSDC has shared it. And team, I would just stop sharing my screen, and there is a code that you have to use. Let me just stop sharing my screen and we go to that game. I want you to be on that page. And your code is 1007. So let me put that code also in the chat. but it is sending a direct message. Why is it not going to everyone? Rugo, can you push that code 1007? Put it in the chat.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So I want everyone to use that code. I see a lot of people entering that room, and you can also, I mean, for the people who have just joined, they can see there's a quiz that's almost starting. Well, I see people have started playing as well. Wow, it's fastest finger first.
Mr. Vikas, can you please share the screenshot?
Screenshot? You want me to share the screenshot of this?
Your screen, sorry.
Okay, I'll share my screen, but my screen is talking about the people who are there. Just let me know if you are able to see the screen.
Yes, perfect.
Okay, so there are these people who are playing that particular game. What about others? I think not able to see the complete name list.
And yes, I will really appreciate if you can explain the screen to everyone.
This screen?
Yes.
This is more of an admin view. So here I can see who's playing that game and how many questions they have attempted, how many points they have scored. Yeah, and game is still incomplete. Once they complete the game, we can see how many points they have scored. There are total 9 points out of 9. How many, or 9 questions out of 9, how many are correct, that we will be able to see.
Just a quick rule for this game: if the score is same for common in terms of points, then we will check the time. So whoever enters the answer first will be the winner.
Okay, right now I can see Rashmi has scored 9 points. But do we have only these many people playing the game, or do we have other participants also? So I see that there are only few people who have not completed. So if I see there are 3 people who are playing it even now, others are done.
Yes, thank you so much for helping us play the game. And Mr. Vikas, you can end the quiz now.
Okay, but there are 2 people. Amol Sharma is still playing. So shall I end the quiz?
Yes.
Okay. We end the quiz, and it's okay. I think I'll have to stop sharing, and just give me a minute. I will end the quiz and show you the results. Well, I think the page is taking time to end the quiz.
There might be latency.
We have to define SLO on this latency. Service level objective. Let's apply SRE here.
Let's wait for 2-3 seconds and see who is the lucky winner here.
Yeah. Do you want me to share my screen? I can show you what's going on my screen. And so there's a leaderboard where you can see it's going in circles. Yeah. And I can only look at this, who completed it. If you want, we can put it as per the scores. So there are 2 people who have got 9. There are 2 people who have scored 8. There are 2 people who have got, 3 people with 5, 3 with 4. Yeah. So Rugo, do you see my screen? Rugo, I think you are talking on mute. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Do you want to take a snapshot of this? I don't know what's going on. Shall I refresh this page?
No, so because we have checked this from our backend, and we have Mr. Kulkarni and Mr. Rashmi Parihar who had scored 9 points. In that, Ms. Rashmi is the winner with 1.55 minutes.
Okay, great.
Congratulations,
So
Ms. Rashmi.
Thanks.
Congratulations, Rashmi.
Thank you, Vikas. I would like to add that your articulation is very, very helpful. It puts right context. There are a lot of people who are really, really very much confused upon DevOps and SRE. There is lots going on in the service management pool of resources. They want to see what is their next go-to. That doesn't take them into too technical, but I think you really put a lot of things into perspective. So thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. My pleasure. So that was really motivating. And others, I hope even your doubts are cleared. And I wish to see you soon, and we'll meet again, maybe in some other webinar, some other session. Yeah.
Yes,
So,
Ms. Rashmi, you will get your exam voucher after tomorrow's session. All right.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, and just a quick 1 to 2 minutes more, I will be sharing my screen to show
I'll stop
you.
sharing.
Sure.
I'll stop sharing. There you go.
Yes, is my screen visible to everyone?
Yes.
Okay, so tomorrow we have Mr. Bruce. He is the SRE director for Google, and he will be up for the session tomorrow. I hope to see every one of you again, and also the game will be played again, and let's see who would be the lucky winner. And I would also request you all to follow us on LinkedIn and also like our website. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I thank everyone and wish you a wonderful time ahead. See you all tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
thank you. Hope looking forward to see all of you tomorrow again.
Thank you.